So, as we all know, Trump is an agent of chaos, but Trump has a right-hand man who we've all talked about before, Herr Goebbels. His name is Stephen Miller. He's this guy, the bald Nazi who has a video from when he was in high school talking about how he's extremely pro-torture and that we should be, like, torture is the most humane thing that you could do to somebody. It's a celebration of life. This guy who orchestrated like 1,000 Trump rallies, writes all of his speeches. This guy's a Nazi, okay? He's a Nazi. This guy is now about to do an interview on Fox, and as we all know, Fox News is just silver spoon propaganda that is designed strictly for the Fuhrer, because they know the Fuhrer is watching every last episode. I mean, for fuck's sake, half the goddamn cabinet is from Fox News. You got Pete Hegseth and Judge Janine and fucking, what's her name, Paula White. You got all these fucking people who've been on Fox because that's the only thing that Trump can process or understand. But we're going to watch this interview with Herr Goebbels on Fox where he's talking about the whole Russia conspiracy. Now, this is important because the former president of Russia, Dmitry Medvedev, came out, I think it was yesterday, like last night, and said, I hope Trump doesn't think that Israel is the only nation with compromising material of his immoral actions. Essentially, Russia's saying, hey, by the way, we've got the tape of you getting pissed on by a Russian hooker, you fat, orange, fascist piece of shit oxygen thief. And also saying, we're not Israel, bro. Like, we don't give a fuck about our relationship with you. We'll drop it. Meanwhile, at the same time, Trump is moving Trump is moving nuclear submarines into range of Russia, and he's lowering the 50-day deadline for the ceasefire against Ukraine to 10 days, and the Russians don't give a fuck. Trump is like, we're going to put sanctions on you, and the Russians are like, we don't care. You've put sanctions on us a million times before. We don't care. We're in the BRICS nations. We trade with 48% of the world population. Why would we give a fuck about an American sanction? But regardless, we're going to watch this interview. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. It costs you nothing, and it helps me immensely. If you are new here, hi there. I'm Chris Valenti. I'm a douchebag who majored in history, minored in political science, and hates fascism. I'm from New York. Please like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and donate to the channel. This is real independent media. I have no funding. I have no sponsors. I've never had a deal with a government or an advertiser or a billionaire. So if you want to help me out, hit the thanks button below. Buy merch, become a member, become a patron, do anything and everything you got to do to send me some fucking money, because it goes to creating a new fucking setup. Because right now, look at this goddamn setup. You're on a fucking laptop. All right? I don't want to hear shit from you. All right, let's do it.
Stephen Miller. Stephen, it's great to have you this morning. Welcome.
Great to be here. Thank you.
And I want to start with the Russia collusion story because I know you lived it as well. They also tried to spy on you.
Sophie.
They wanted your emails, subpoenaed you as they left people really with their lives changed. Your reaction to what was released this week?
The Russia collusion hoax against President Trump remains the single greatest hoax and the greatest assault on our democracy in the history of this country. There's no comparison, there's no parallel to any.
I can think of one other assault on American democracy that was pretty important. It was called the Civil War, when half of our nation seceded from the Union, and then we went to war with ourselves, and it was the bloodiest conflict in our nation's history. You could take all of the deaths from every war we have ever fought and combine them, and it still doesn't meet the amount of deaths from the Civil War. That is how fucking brutal the Civil War was for us.
Anything else. It was a coup, and I'm using that term literally. It was a coup to.
All right, I can think of another, I can think of a real coup, an attempted coup, was January 6th, when Trump tried to overthrow the government and push forward a fraudulent electorate slate. They also built a gallows and were chanting "Hang Mike Pence." They also broke into the Capitol with zip ties and pipe bombs and were getting ready to slaughter our government. I don't know, maybe that one maybe I'm the only one thinking about that.
Overthrow a democratically elected government. A coup carried out by the intelligence apparatus of this country, by the deep state, by Hillary Clinton and the Democrat Party. The new information that has been revealed by the Director of National Intelligence and by the FBI eliminates any scintilla of doubt about the intention, the premeditation, the planning and orchestration of this conspiracy. It meets all—
Dude, they're doing everything they possibly can to distract from the fucking Epstein files. It's not working, dude. Nobody gives a fuck about this. Nobody believes that Barack Obama committed treason.
all of the criminal elements of a seditious conspiracy against the United States. It meets the criminal elements of an insurrection. It meets the criminal elements of a conspiracy against the government.
Any of you
and the
motherfuckers
criminal
saying
elements
insurrection.
of a conspiracy to deprive citizens of their civil rights under color of law.
You fucking are trying to get rid of due process, you bald Nazi fuck!
Egregious felony after another. And because it is a conspiracy, as demonstrated by the forethought of realizing and documenting that they understood that this was fake from the beginning, meeting the mens rea standard in law. Because of that, because it is a conspiracy, every single individual actor is now part of that conspiracy. So that includes Brennan and Clapper and Comey and Hillary and Schiff and everybody else who knowingly and willfully perpetrated this plot, this coup, this conspiracy, this scheme against President Trump and the government of the United States. And now is the time and the hour and the moment for accountability so that we can reclaim this democracy, Maria.
You're right. This is the hour for accountability, which is why I believe you, Stephen Miller, should be thrown into Donald's Dachau in the Florida Everglades with no due process. Fuck you. Why don't you eat with roaches in your food, you fucking Nazi groiper piece of shit, bald fucking incel, wife stolen by Elon Musk, fucking shrimp dick, micro penis, fucking aggression filled with hate piece of shit.
I believe we will actually get accountability. We've been demanding accountability now for a decade. Our audience is well aware that this is the biggest political scandal we have ever seen, and an effort to undermine and take down a duly elected president. But now we want to see the tricksters face the consequences. Will they?
I have complete confidence in the Department of Justice to follow these facts, to follow this new, further avalanche of evidence, and to take all the necessary legal steps to ensure that the wrongdoers, the coup plotters, the schemers, and the insurrectionists are held fully accountable under the laws and Constitution of these United States.
You mean like the way that your perfect and humble Führer pardoned every single January 6th insurrectionists, including the violent ones, including the man who drove a stun gun into the neck of a Capitol police officer, thus leading him to die of a heart attack? Yeah, no, that guy was pardoned.
Yes, Maria, I believe that.
Now, last weekend, John Ratcliffe, CIA director who is a former prosecutor, former DNI, told us that the statute of limitations, the 5-year statute, does not apply when it comes to conspiracy. And he says the conspiracy is ongoing because they still won't admit it. The conspiracy is still happening. So what is your take on what Ratcliffe told us last week?
Oh, he's completely right. So several of the statutes I mentioned, we have not even come close to eclipsing the statute of limitations. But more than that, it is an ongoing and continuing conspiracy. It continued through the entirety of President Trump's first term. It continued through the entirety of President Biden's term in office, and it continues to this day. There are still deep state coup plotters who are trying to conceal and hide this information.
Highlight this one chatter says, don't buy into the false dichotomy. They are both horrible left and right. It's the ultra wealthy we need to expose and usurp. Here is your problem. I have a problem with that take. People have been saying, oh, the left and the right are the same. No, the right wants you dead. The right built concentration camps. The right deployed ICE. The right is black-bagging brown people with no due process and sending them to a fucking death camp in El Salvador. The right wants to get rid of gay marriage. The right got rid of abortion rights. The right wants to create a Christian theocratic fascist regime. The left doesn't want anything to change because they pad their pockets. They just benefit off the status quo and they don't want anything to change. There is a stark difference between the right being actually, literally evil and the left being complacent in that evil. Stark fucking difference. Not only that, if your problem is with the, it's up versus down, your problem's with the billionaires, okay, the richest people in our nation all support Donald Trump. The most successful corporations in our nation all support Donald Trump. The super wealthy all vote Republican because the Republican Party gives them tax cuts. There is no debating this. If you don't like the rich, you can't vote right wing.
Information on behalf of the people they are protecting. There are still staffers in Democrat offices who know the full truth, who are concealing that truth. So all of this behavior, all of this conduct collectively means the conspiracy hasn't ended, is ongoing. Comey in particular has throughout the years.
But the left isn't the answer. The left is the answer. You've never had the left in power. The United States has never had a leftist as the president. You think JFK was a leftist? He wasn't. I'm talking about socialism. We're talking about full-fledged socialism.
Engage in conduct and lies, public statements, and testimony in front of Congress. False testimony, whose sole purpose was to perpetuate and continue the conspiracy. So I have every hope and expectation that the Department of Justice, under the leadership of our courageous Attorney General, will follow these facts and follow the evidence and deliver justice. Because if we have a country where we can continue to have FBI careerists and CIA careerists, deep staters, who will fabricate and doctor evidence.
Bro, you just had 1,000 FBI agents comb through 100,000 pages of the Epstein files and redact Trump's name because he's on every single page. It's not even the Epstein files anymore. It's the Trumpstein files. You don't get to talk about deploying the fucking Fed for political reasons when you, Herr Goebbels, have quite literally created a private Gestapo designed to black bag brown people and send them to death camps.
Will create and produce fake material, fabricated material, phony information to try to go after their political enemies up to and including the president. If we continue to create the impression and the reality that there is not a criminal, a severe criminal penalty for such conduct, it will never stop, it will never desist, it will keep on going forever. And we will continue to have a country that is sabotaged endlessly by the production of fake documents, fake material, fake plots against democratically elected officials. We can't have that. There must be consequences.
Well, I mean, it's just extraordinary to me that the mainstream media has completely ignored this story. And they obviously were complicit from day one, being the quote-unquote useful idiots of the cabal to spread this nonsense across the world. But the Russia collusion lie had such an incredible impact. People went to jail. They should...
Who the fuck even talks about this, bro? Who the fuck is talking about Russian collusion anymore? This is a decade-old story, bro. This is what I mean about they're pulling out all the stops. Remember when Trump tweeted about, what the fuck is her name? Rosie O'Donnell? That's how desperate Trump is to get rid of this whole Epstein story, is he's pulling out the old hits. You know, it's like a failed musician that had good hits a decade ago, and he's pulling out the old hits. He's like, hey, guys, remember? We don't like Rosie O'Donnell. Hey, guys, remember? Russiagate. Hey! Like, it's not going to fucking work, you fat fuck.
Not have... people were raided. They raided Mar-a-Lago, President Trump's home, looking for these documents, according to Devin Nunes, who told us
By the way, that's a great point. The Mar-a-Lago raid was a perpetuation and continuation of this same conspiracy. They went in search and in hopes of trying to recover the documents.
And they found them next to the toilet. We all saw the pictures, bro. We're talking about documents piled like fucking 4 feet high in the goddamn bathroom.
Documents that would implicate their own criminal conduct.
That's right.
The entire raid was a perpetuation of this same criminal scheme, as you mentioned. And so many innocent people suffered irreparable harm. Paul Manafort was left to rot in a prison cell because of this ridiculous investigation, this witch hunt that is carried out. How many homes are raided?
I can guarantee you this mouth has sucked a dick.
how many documents were taken, emails were taken against the innocent, against people whose only crime was working for President Trump. Right. And everything that has happened, including, I would argue, all of the interference in 2024 that took place and in 2020 that took place, all the dirty tricks that kept taking place against President Trump were all part of a desire to keep him from getting back into the Oval Office to uncover and expose and share with the world the full truth of what happened, as we are seeing now, Maria.
They also set up General Mike Flynn. Let's not forget about that. There were so many implications of this lie, but even more so, let's talk about the impact to the American people. Because while
the impact to the American people, who the fuck was impacted by this? Oh, dude, my life went so downhill once the Democrats accused Trump of colluding with the Russians. My fucking mom cheated on my dad immediately.
Schiff was going on the Sunday political shows, and he was the chairman of the Intelligence Committee for a time, saying there's collusion in plain sight. When you have that kind of a title, you're the chairman of the Intelligence Committee, and you say there's collusion in plain sight, we believe you. You've got the job. You must have seen more than we've seen. So to outwardly lie like that because you have that title. Same thing with former director of CIA, John Brennan. He's got that title. We believe him because he says it. So all of this, when they were running around, Russia, 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 how much did they miss? How much did they leave on the cutting room floor? For example, right now, we are dependent on China for 90% of the underlying components for our prescription drugs. We saw Russia invade Ukraine, more territory. We saw Iran continue to build up nuclear weapons.
Why is she yelling nonstop? It's like a fucking nail in my ear. Stop yelling. And I know that's coming from me, but like, there's gotta be, if you're yelling the whole time, then your yelling means nothing. You have to preserve it.
Right. All of the things that actually matter to the American people were not the focus.
The cost
for 10 years.
Is incalculable. The cost is incalculable of having the entire security apparatus of this country.
Oh my God, this fucking Valley girl.
Security apparatus of this country.
Yo, MAGA, is this your bastion of masculinity? This bald Valley girl ass bitch who probably never felt the warmth of a woman until he paid for one?
Of having the entire security apparatus of this country.
Of this country? Of this country?
Focusing on the hoax instead of the real national security threats facing America.
Right. Oh my God, he's such a Valley girl. Once you hear it, you'll never unhear it. Every sentence goes up like this. We're talking about the president of the United States trying to pass a law in this country, and there are people who don't want him to. I mean, that must be a violation of this country. Oh.
Lie after lie after lie that was told to the American people, preventing us from actually solving our relationship with Russia, preventing us from actually developing security and independence from all of our adversaries around the world, dealing with these big geopolitical questions. Instead, we were consumed endlessly by the same hoax, the same lie. And the charlatans that engage in this conduct are beneath contempt, they are without dignity, and they are beyond redemption.
I'll take it a bit further. I don't think you're beneath contempt or whatnot. I think you're a subhuman vermin. That's what I fucking think about you. I think you are a fascist, servile dog man. I think you're an oxygen thief. I think you're the husk of a human.
What they have done, you can't even measure the harm that it inflicted.
Stephen, real quick before you go, take us to today, because President Trump has these deadlines underway. He is telling Russia, you've got days that are numbered. August 8th is the deadline to stop this war in Ukraine. What is he going to do in terms of sanctions? Can he actually stop this war? And what about China and a trade deal?
All right. No, he cannot stop this war. Yes, he will put sanctions on them. No, the sanctions will do nothing. And then what was the last question about China? Thank you for the $4.
Can he actually stop this war? And what about China and a trade deal?
China in a trade deal, there's not going to be a good trade deal with China. We will always be reliant on cheap Chinese goods.
So first of all, we've never been in a stronger place economically than we are right now. Not
That's a
only because
complete and total fucking lie.
Passed the largest ever tax cut and relief in American history.
For the top 1%, the tax cut and relief is for the wealthiest people in our nation.
Not only because he's opened up American energy to a degree never seen before, eliminated all of the wasteful regulations, streamlining our economy, but because he has used trade to strengthen instead of weaken America. The trade deal with the EU, the trade deal with Japan, the trade deal with Korea, the tariff revenue that is reducing our deficit. So now we're in a position of economic strength to deal with Russia and to deal with this war that he inherited from Joe Biden, who is responsible for this travesty. The whole Democrat Party is responsible for this travesty in Europe. So what he said very clearly is that it is not acceptable for India to continue financing this war by purchasing the oil from Russia. People will be shocked to learn that India is basically tied with China in purchasing Russian oil. That's
Dude, Germany purchases Russian oil. Germany's one of our allies. Like, oh my God. Russia's #1 export is fucking natural gas, dog. Do you expect European countries to not take oil from the one place in Europe that has the fucking most of it?
Astonishing fact. India portrays itself as being one of our closest friends in the world, but they don't accept our products. They impose massive tariffs on us. We also know they engage in a lot of cheating on immigration policies that is very harmful to American workers. And of course, we see again the purchasing of oil. So President Trump, he wants a tremendous relationship and has had always a tremendous relationship with India and the Prime Minister. But we need to get real about dealing with the financing of this war. So President Trump, all options are on the table to deal diplomatically, financially, and otherwise.
And otherwise means militarily. He will that's the thing about Trump. Otherwise, literally, if Trump doesn't get what he wants, he just threatens to invade your nation or bomb you.
Ongoing war in Ukraine, so we can achieve peace and end the war that the Democrat Party and Joe Biden are responsible for.
Oh, yeah, the Democrat Party and Joe Biden are responsible for the war. Not Vladimir Putin. Not the Russian invaders. No, it's the Democrat Party and Joe Biden.
Very good. Stephen Miller, great to talk with you. Thanks so much. We'll be watching your work, obviously.
Thank you.
I'm Steve.
Surprised that motherfucker doesn't slap out a Sig Heil every time he's done with his fucking interviews. Anyway, one last thing I want to show you, just so we can end it on a kind of funny note. A chatter pointed this out to me. Thank you for the money. I believe that Trump, his whole... Just watch this. We're going to walk through Trump's mind real quick. So it starts off with this. In just 6 months, I cut costs, especially energy and taxes, tremendously. Elizabeth Pocahontas Warren on CNBC said costs have gone up. She's just angry that I blew up her terrible presidential campaign. Call her out. And then he goes again, and he goes, Elizabeth Warren is a loser. She lies about everything, including the fact that she is an Indian. She's not. She's no Pocahontas. Now, Trump is blatantly being racist right now. They are called Native Americans, not Indians. We call them Indians because Christopher Columbus thought he was in fucking India. We haven't used that goddamn term in decades. But this motherfucker doesn't give a shit. But watch this. He says Indian, even though they're not even referring to India. And that starts he goes, ask Pocahontas the real question, CNBC. And this stupid fuck talking about Pocahontas, Indian, and then suddenly he goes, wow, speaking of India, and now he's talking about the real India. India is not only buying massive amounts of Russian oil, they are then, for much of the oil purchased, selling it on the open market for big profits. They don't care how many people in Ukraine are being killed by the Russian war machine. Because of this, I will be substantially raising the tariff paid by India to the United States of America. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Bro, he was shit-talking Elizabeth Warren, who he nicknamed Pocahontas, as in Native American. He calls Native Americans Indian as... Oh, my God. Oh, my God. I forgot about this fucking clip. This is going to blow you. Thank you for the $8. Aussie here. So sorry for what you Yanks are going through with the orange fascist. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Trump, you're never going to believe this. This will be the last thing I show you. This is from like the 80s.
Is this you discussing Indian blood? We're going to judge people by whether they have Indian blood, whether they're qualified to run a gaming casino or not?
That probably is me, absolutely. Because I tell you what, if you look at some of the
reservations that you've approved, you, sir, in your great wisdom have approved, I will tell you right now, they don't look like Indians to me, and they don't look like the Indians. Now, maybe we say politically correct or not politically correct. They don't look like Indians to me, and they don't look like Indians to Indians, and a lot of people are laughing at it, and you're telling how tough it is, how rough it is to get approved. Well, you go up to Connecticut, and you look. Now, they don't look like Indians to me, sir.
Thank God that's not the test of whether or not people have rights in this country or not, whether or not they pass your look test.
Depends whether.
It is now. It is now.
Yeah, depends whether or not you're approving it, sir.
No, it's not a question whether I'm approving it. It's not a question whether I'm approving it. Mr. Trump, you know in the history of this country where we've heard this discussion before, they don't look Jewish to me.
Oh, really?
They don't look Indian to me. They don't look Italian to me.
Can you explain the context here? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that Trump was trying to build casinos on on Native American reservations, but you can't do that. And his whole defense to be allowed to put up the casinos was saying that he went to these reservations and they don't look Indian to me. They don't look Indian to me. So let me build my casino. This is the president of the fucking United States of America, dogs. Doggies, we're cooked. Speaking of doggies. Luigi, do hai ras, likiri. Kommer till hilfe. Lao, Saturn! Max det! Anyway, nein! Böser Hund! Anyway, nein! Anyway, nein! Anyway, thank you for tuning into the Valenti Vod. I'm gonna cut the video here. If you're here live, you stay. We're gonna keep on going. If you're watching it, nine! If you're watching this pre-recorded on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Nine! Don't forget to like, comment, nine! Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. It costs you nothing, and it helps me immensely. If you do want to help support this channel financially, there's a couple of ways you could do it. You could become a member here on YouTube for $5. Massive shout out to the members. You could become a patron on Patreon for $5. Massive shout out to the patrons. You can click that thanks button to donate to the channel. You could buy merch, and you could use that 40% off discount code in the description below. One other thing is we have new merch coming out soon. There's only like 4 days left to get any of the merch that is available currently, and then we're going to have a swap out. So if you want to get that stuff now, get it before you can't. And do me one last favor. Click that video over there. It's a banger. And I know bangers.